Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video we are going to talk about NestJS testing with the GraphQL. We have already covered all the different scenarios of testing, unit testing and end-to-end testing with the NestJS TypeORM, Sequelize, Prisma, Mongoose. Now the last couple of videos we are going to cover. One is the NestJS testing with the GraphQL and NestJS end-to-end testing with the TypeORM, where we are going to run the test suite. We are going to reload the database after every test suite runs, so that we should be able to get the clean database for the new test suite. So let's take a look on simple GraphQL testing. So what we are going to do, we have a simple NestJS GraphQL setup, and here you can see our package JSON. Here we are using Apollo server. I mean, setting up the NestJS GraphQL is sometimes little painful because of the versioning. If you are using NestJS 8.x, if you are using NestJS 10.x, then you have to choose a specific version of Apollo server and Apollo GraphQL. So these are the specific modules you need: NestJS GraphQL, NestJS Apollo server, and GraphQL tools. GraphQL tools are the modules which you don't need. So I'm just removing the modules which are not needed. So Pactum we need for the end-to-end testing. So in this video we are checking both things, the unit testing and end-to-end testing when you have a GraphQL setup. So here three dependencies really matters: Apollo, NestJS Apollo and the GraphQL. If these three dependencies versions are right and compatible with the NestJS, you won't face any issue in setting up the NestJS GraphQL, and you should be able to run the NestJS GraphQL server. So here this is just a very simple example, and through this simple example we are going to take a look on how you can write a unit test and end-to-end test with the Pactum. So here in the simple GraphQL server, what you will see? You will see a resolver instead of controller. This is the code first approach, so you will not see a schema here. In the code first approach, you specify your queries, your mutations and subscriptions. Everything you are specifying through the code. So here I have update, delete, cat, delete, and give me the single cat and give me the list of cat. That is the query, and rest all are mutations. And cat service is just using mock version of cat array and just doing get one cat, update cat, delete cat. So that is a very simple JavaScript code written in this cat service and cat resolver. So our basic objective is to see how you can write the test, but there is no big change. Why I'm saying is because instead of controller now we have a resolver is still a class, and we can write a unit test for the cat resolver. Okay, cat resolver has a get cat, get cats, get cat, insert cat, update cat and delete cat, all these methods. So we can actually mock the cat service and can write the test cases for the resolver. Similarly, we can write the test cases for the cat service. So here we have all these methods. We can define the mock version of those. Either you can just say cat service and use value. The better way of using is define the mock of some of the methods, so you should be able to assert the same while running the test cases for those. You can use factory, use value. In use value you can just provide a mock version of the cat service. So here we have get cat, get cats. So all these methods you can define in this jest.fn .mock return value, or just specify, okay, what is the outcome when somebody is calling the get cats method. So here we have a get cats, similarly get one cat. So we can just mock this, and instead of an object, instead of an array, here we are going to return a simple cat object. So this is taking cat input, which is the DTO, which will have an ID, and it will return a cat object. So we have defined the mock of all the methods: get one cat, update cat, delete cat, and that is the mock version of the service we are using. Now cat service is already not using any kind of ORM. It's just using simple array of cats and playing with that array of object. So we don't need to mock the cat service. we can actually hit the actual methods defined here. Cat service get one cat, delete cat, update cat. We can just simply mock it. So here, this is how we are creating a testing module. And now we can also run the application and see how it really works. So our server is working on localhost 3000 GraphQL is the endpoint, and these are the queries we have. So first we will send a request, and these are the queries. We can add a mutation to create a new cat. Here you can see our mutation works, and I should be able to create lots of cats. And I can query get cats. It should be able to give me all the cats I have created in the system, right? So it's just like a simple GraphQL query and a GraphQL mutation. So now we need to find out how we can test these queries and mutations through the actual API, because it's again a simple HTTP endpoint / GraphQL, and where you are specifying the different queries and different mutation, and then just sending it as a HTTP request. So we can just use a super test or a pactum for that, and we can send these queries in the payload of the HTTP post API. So let's see how we can write the end-to-end test. So here, this is the app end-to-end test, and here we are creating a testing module. And here we are checking all the GraphQL queries, HTTP GraphQL server. So first we need to get the HTTP server using app instance. It's a simply HTTP post request with a query or a mutation. That query you will be specifying in the .send. This is the GraphQL. So overall, creating the end-to-end test is kind of similar. Here we are creating a test.create testing module, importing the app module, and then once we have a create nest application app instance, we can get the request instance from this. So here we are doing app.get HTTP server, and then doing a .post, .send, and then you can just assert .expect its status code 200. And if you are getting something in the response object, response.body.data. Okay, so this is like a simple HTTP request you are sending, and URL is the query here. Similarly, get one cat, post GraphQL, and you are sending a different query. So you can just copy the query and just make it inline, because this is the payload you are sending, or you can just use the whole query. So response.body.data.get cat. Cat should be a single object when you are just getting only single cat, and here it is a mutation. Insert cat, that means you are adding a cat, and what you should return in the body is the created cat, right? So here response.body.inserted cat should be equal to that. Similarly, here we are just doing all these different operations we have for the end-to-end test. So this is how you can simply write end-to-end test using super test. Now the same test we are going to write with the pactum. So we have already used a super test and request instance. First we are getting the create testing module fixture.create test create nest application. Once you have app instance, you can just do app init, and you can also start on particular port, because this is NestJS application which is going to bootstrap on particular port. So here we can get the service instance, and you can set the URL. So with the pactum, what is the base URL your application is going to work on? So we can just hit all the endpoint through the pactum using that. So here we are using pactum for hitting all the API and do the testing. So pactum.request.set base URL, we are setting the base URL to the local host. And now we can start writing the end-to-end test by hitting the endpoints. So first endpoint is the cats. Give me all the list of cats. So how we are going to write it? Simply we are going to use pactum for hitting the GraphQL endpoint, and GraphQL query is the payload, you can say, in the HTTP post API we are sending. So request pactum.spec. I mean, the syntax is little different, but once you write it once, you should be familiar after writing it once. So spec.post. Post is the URL with the endpoint. With body, there are different options with GraphQL query. So pactum has this enrich library which also supports the GraphQL. So you don't need to worry about, okay, what is the GraphQL query you are sending. And here you can paste the whole GraphQL query query cats, get cat is the query, and dot expect. Expect means what is the status code you are expecting from this. So we can use expect status and expect body. So these are the two methods directly being provided by the Pactum library. So we can assert expect status and expect body, and you will get the whole outcome. Now similarly, we are writing the other end-to-end tests also for this. So we can write other test cases also, like get one cat, update cat, delete cat. So the first one was get one cat using simple GraphQL query. Now we can just scroll. So this is the get one cat. So the query is different here. You can see here we are just passing the cat ID, get cat, cat ID. So the query is different now. Now what will happen is with GraphQL query variable. So if you are writing GraphQL APIs, then Pactum is really helpful for the end-to-end testing, because it is providing those methods with GraphQL query dot with GraphQL variable. That means you are specifying a query and you are using the variables with the dollar. Now you have to also replace those values with the cat actual ID that we are doing here, cat with ID 2, right? And then expect status and expect body, like what will be the overall data you are going to get, that we are asserting. So this is all about how we are doing a GraphQL testing. I will also post this code in the NestJS advanced series, so you can go and take a look.